on a very broad level, consulting is about problem solving. Now, what does that really mean? It sounds superficial, it sounds super, vague, but and you must have probably heard this from a million different sources. But essentially, what it means is that you'll be given, let's say, a client, and this client, which would be a company, would have any sort of problem. This problem could be a business problem, it could be something like a due diligence problem, it could be absolutely anything. And you'll be thrown into the mix as a 20, 21, 22-year-old kid, right, with almost absolutely zero domain expertise to solve this problem in the given sector that you're assigned. This could be anything ranging from telecom to technology to AI, right? And the question then becomes, how do you go about doing something like this? And to do that, your firm, which is the consulting firm that you would be interning at now, would essentially provide you a lot of resources. This could be in terms of people, like human capital resources such as an expert network, or it could be in terms of resources like a database or internal database or some sort of research articles. It's basically your task to go through a lot of this material, assimilate all of this information, and then find insights based on this information that you have for the client and for the problem statement that you've been given. Now, when it comes to this, your day-to-day would probably look like going around, traveling around, talking to a lot of different people from a lot of different places, talking to a lot of different experts, trying to judge the kind of information that they're giving you, reading a lot, researching a lot, finding a lot of articles from different web sources that are reputable, and then assimilating all of this information and then presenting it to your end client, which is in the form of a presentation or a PowerPoint. Now, the question then becomes, what are the skill sets required? So, of course, one skill set that's almost obvious is the skill set of just critical thinking, which is to find information and then take a lot of this information and find insights. The second skill set would be required would be a lot of emotional intelligence and people skills, which is how comfortable are you having conversations with people. Now, saying that it's not required that you have to be like an extroverted person or someone who has exceptional people skills, but in general, you should just be comfortable talking to people, listening into long hours of conversations, sitting into maybe slightly boring meetings almost, to take in what are the key points and the key insights from a given conversation. And the third, and again, a very important skill would be the skill of presentation, which is that once you've assimilated all of this information, once you've got all these insights, then how do you actually present your final argument? How do you present your final insight in a convincing and a concise manner where people understand exactly what you're saying, no matter how technical that subject is, and how clearly and concisely you're able to present that information?
Typically has 3 steps. Number 1, CV shortlisting. Number 2, the buddy rounds. And lastly, the final interviews. So during this process, the largest bottleneck is the CV shortlisting part. So basically, a large number of people aspire for consulting. So I'll just tell you the numbers, approximate numbers. So there are around 200, 250 candidates who apply for consulting firms. And among the top 5, 6 companies that typically visit IIT Delhi for placements and internships on day 1 and day 2 are around 40, 50. So these are the students who get a shortlist. These are the unique people who get a shortlist. So a large chunk of people get eliminated over here only. So one thing that we need to work on for a consulting intern or even a consulting placement is building a CV. So building a CV is a very long process. It's not something that you can do in a month or two. So what you can do is you can typically start with CV building when you are in fourth semester or something.
So basically, a consulting CV typically has 5 sections, which are the CGPA, scholastics, which includes your academic achievements at IIT Delhi and before. Then your internships, which includes your research intern or any corporate intern that you have done in your second year or even first year. Some people do in first year as well. Then followed by PORs and ECS, which are, I guess, self-explanatory. So consulting companies look for spike in these sections. So what a spike is? There are some conventional parameters to judge each of these sections. So let's get into the conventional parameters later. So on the basis of these parameters, they give you a score out of 10 for each section, and a score above 7 or 8 is typically considered as a spike for that particular section. So they look for around 4 spikes in the CV out of the 5 sections that I mentioned. 5 on 5 is excellent. 4 is enough for getting you shortlists, and 3 might be dicey.
So the reason they're clubbed together is because they're obviously very similar sections. In terms of your CGPA, generally top consulting firms consider 8 CGPA to be satisfactory, anything above 8 to be satisfactory. And as you go above 8, let's say you reach 8.5 or a 9 mark, that is considered to be a spike. It's again a spike because very few people applying for consulting have that kind of a CG. It gets slightly tough below 8, between the bracket of 7.5 to 8. It's slightly tough to get good shortlists. However, if you have other good sections and other exceptionally good sections, you can possibly get a shortlist. And below 7.5, it gets very difficult. Although there is still scope, we've seen unexpected things happen as well. In terms of your scholastic section, I think your scholastic achievements can fall into two categories. Firstly, the institute level scholastic achievements, and secondly, anything outside of the institute. The institute level would look something like, let's say you have gone for Forex, or you have achieved the merit list, or maybe DEPSI or anything like that. Any sort of achievement you have received via the college itself. And your achievements outside of school would look, outside of college would look something like maybe any sort of Olympiads that you have cracked, or any sort of entrance exams that you've aced in before your JE or during your JE period. Although in a scholastic section, the institute level scholastic achievements are valued more, because they're looking for people who have more recently achieved or more recently done good things that are appearing on their profile. So if you have like more institute level ones, you can put that. And if you don't have them, you can put anything else you want to. But even if you don't have any sort of scholastic achievements right now, it is still fine, because you can go ahead and work on them and try to start collecting them now. You can still achieve a satisfactory level of scholastic section if you start right now as well. This is a very crucial section, because a lot of your interviewers would prefer to ask you questions regarding this section. And what they're looking for mostly in this section is like a varied amount of experience that you might have earned. So firstly, it's advised to write multiple internships. Usually only one internship, no matter how good it is, may not always earn you a satisfactory or a spike of an internship section. And in terms of what internship you should be doing, so one thing about consulting is that they would prefer an internship in a big brand name, or like a big title, as compared to the exact work that you're doing. Because most of the times in your first year or second year, you don't get work that is actually pertinent to consulting. So instead they look whether like you worked with a good institute, or you worked in a good company or anything like that, because you might have earned valuable experience from like good skilled people in those places. So usually a corporate intern is considered to be good if you can get one in a good like a financial consulting firm, or any place where you've actually like physically gone to an office and done a lot of work, or any research internship which is offline, that is especially foreign, that also looks good. So if you're going for a foreign internship on offline, that is a very major spike. But online internships or remote internships are also good, as long as they're backed by a good foreign institute, or even IIMs are a very good section. Just to clarify, it's advised that you write different type of internships in your CV. So for example, one corporate and one research internship, or one corporate and one startup is a very good combination to have, because it's giving you varied sort of experience. So we obviously know what a POR is. It's a position of responsibility. And what they're looking for in this section, and which is similar for ECS as well, is some sort of a story of what you've done in college, or how your college life has looked like, and what you've learned from this particular college life. So some normal rules which are to be expected while writing a POR section is, firstly, I think a third year POR is definitely necessary. Only second year PORs will not really reflect very good, because third year PORs involve more responsibility and a different level of understanding of how things might work in this institute. Secondly, elected PORs are usually considered more important, or better than nominated PORs. This is because usually they understand that you have to fight more to get an elected POR. You are either more competent, or either you're good with words or whatever to get an elected POR. Hence, it is of more value as compared to a nominated POR. And thirdly, and most importantly, what they're looking for, like I said earlier, in your PR section is some sort of a story which is synonymous with continuity. So, for example, if I've done some work in a particular area in my second year, and then I back it up with a third year PR, it looks like I've given my best to that particular event or that particular activity in my second year as well. So hence the third year PR is now more valuable, because I've earned it more, as compared to a PR which I might just get without having worked for it as well. So just whenever you're writing your PR and as your ECA section as well, it is better to have a story, it's better to have a continuity. Instead of having random PORs from different places, it's better to have a POR in one particular area where you've backed a second year POR with a third year POR. So in ECAs, that is extracurricular activities, again, like in PORs, a continuity or a story is very much important, because they're again looking for what you've done in college and what all you've achieved, right? So I think firstly, it's important to have 2 or 3 broad categories of ECAs. They should be well structured. It's easy to earn a lot of ECAs here and there, but then the important part is to have a structure to it. Like they should be in a category. For example, you might have a section about sports, then you might have a section about any cultural activities that you might have partook in. So make sure to have this structure in 2 or 3 broad categories. Secondly, again, the person who's reviewing your CV is probably a person who's been in IT Delhi at some point in their life. So they know the value of whatever ECA you're writing, how tough it is to achieve that one, or how valuable it actually is. So any section that you're writing or anything that you might be involved in, just make sure that the ECAs that hold the most value are highlighted well enough. So for example, if you're part of a particular club, any person inside the institute would know that you representing IIT Delhi outside and winning a competition or like getting a podium is more important than winning an internal competition. So just like that, your external ECAs are more important than your internal ECAs, right? Because the person reviewing your CV would know that as well. Similar for sports, external wins are more important than internal wins. So while making your ECA section, ensure that again you're able to portray a certain story as to that whatever activity that you have partaken or whatever activity you have chosen in this particular institute, you're able to achieve to a good level in that particular activity, as well as you have a particular story. So let's say your POR section is backed by your ECAs, that is you have ECAs, let's assume in sports, and then you become the sports techie. So that sort of validates your sports techie POR as well, that you have achieved enough to then become a sports techie. So this is the story that they're looking for, both in ECAs and PORs, and specifically through ECAs, just try to frame them in a way that they look better than they might actually be. But that is something you learn over time as well.
Should probably have been assigned a junior and senior buddy, or depending on the firm, maybe one single buddy even. But essentially, you would be assigned this buddy. Don't hesitate to reach out to them. They have been in the exact same position as you are in right now when they were themselves applying for an internship or a job offer. These buddies that are there, they will also help. Hopefully, if they're good, would provide you a lot of feedback and resources to help you with your case prep. They'll also, assign you certain times. Like they'll tell you that, okay, next week would you be free to, let's say, do a guesstimate, or let's say do a profitability case, for example. And be absolutely communicative. Tell them that I've been doing, let's say, compendium guesstimates. I've covered these few guesstimates. I've been casing with my case group. Be happy. Just generally have a positive attitude towards everything. They're going to be barely 2 to 3 years your senior. Obviously, don't be completely casual to the point where you slip something very, very overly personal. But definitely don't be completely professional where you're stiff and you're not being just buddies with your buddy technically, right? So. Yeah, and when it comes to the cases that you will have with your buddies, these cases, buddies will generally say that these cases are non-evaluative. Depends on the firm, really, very subjective experiences. I would personally say that take each and every buddy case almost as if it were evaluative. Take them seriously. Don't mess around with them at all. Be prepared for your buddy cases. Also, if your buddy assigns you time, like they tell you that, okay, this time at this particular thing, if your cases are clashing, 2 different buddies from different firms have, a clashing case, or you have some prior commitment, be sure to be very clear with your buddy beforehand that, okay, I have a prior commitment at this time, so I can't make it. Would this time work instead? Or ask them for a different time. In general, try to be as available as possible for your buddies, but if it's just not possible, it's just not possible, and that's absolutely okay. Don't be afraid to reschedule things with your buddy. They understand that you're also running a very busy schedule right now just before your intern season. Again, as I've said before, they've been exactly where you are. In the middle, you should also have one dinner with your firm. Again, very firm specific. Maybe you'd have one, maybe you won't. These dinners are generally non-evaluative. You'll get to meet a couple of the partners in the firm. You'll maybe get to meet your buddy if the buddy is working in the office at the time that the dinner happens. Even if you're not able to meet them, that's okay. You'll get to meet a bunch of other consultants as well. Network with them. Go around. Enjoy your time over there, enjoy your dinner, you'll get some nice goodies as well, have fun, just generally have a positive attitude towards things is what I would say. Another thing is that a couple of firms also encourage cross-buddy cases, where if you're good with your casing, you can ask your buddy, this is a pro tip, to, link you up with a couple of other buddies that are there that have been assigned to maybe your friends and other such people. This really helps build a rapport with other people in the firm, which always helps on the final day, because when the partner gets your feedback, they'll get feedback from multiple different buddies at the same time, which would definitely help your chances. Lastly, when it comes to your case groups and case group formation and actually networking with your peers, your batchmates, and casing with them, I would definitely say that while a case group is super important, from my personal experience, having multiple different people give you different insights is always a good idea. So you should definitely have maybe 1 or 2 people that you are definitely chummy with, where that they're going to be available and you're mainly casing with them. But at the same time, don't turn like a blind eye, or like don't turn deaf to like other people also who are part of the process, because everyone has their opinion. And while you may do like 20 cases with someone, at some point you may reach a point of saturation where you both are basically not able to give each other feedback, because you guys can't see each other outside this perspective that you've been seeing each other for the last 20 cases. So a third person perspective is always helpful in that case. Don't overly burden yourself at the same time, because I've seen a lot of people take in, let's say, 20 different opinions from 20 different people and then try to incorporate all 20 opinions at the same time, and that really starts looking very alien. Stay true to yourself. Ensure that whatever you think is most intuitive to you and whatever you think is absolutely correct to you, do exactly that. Suno sabki lekin karo khud ki is the general motto over here. And just in general, be active, right? Be proactive. That is the main quality that's required in this phase. The more proactive you are, the more you communicate with your buddies, the more cross-party cases you do, the more proactive you are with your peers and the kind of case groups that you're forming, the more proactive you are with feedback that you receive, and the more you work on that feedback and the more cases you do, the better it is. Quality over quantity always. And yeah, best of luck. What you have to do is keep calm. Get dressed early in the morning, ensure that you wake up on time, sleep on time preferably, have a good night's rest, because your mind, the way it works on the day, is all that really matters. Everything that you've done so far has led up to this one day, right? Get up early, ensure that you're clean, hygienic, you're brushed, had a bath, everything's nice, you're wearing your best suit, your best attire, ensure that it's all comfortable at the same time. Don't wear something super stuffy that limits your movement, makes you feel like outside of your own skin. Be as comfortable as you are in your own skin. When you go to your final interview slots, you'll be given slots from OCS a day before, where you'll be told that these are your 3 slots for 3 different interviews for different firms. Put out all the influence that you've had from different firms in one corner, and go and give each interview as if it's a completely new, completely fresh interview. Irrespective of whether an interview goes good or bad before or after, doesn't matter. Give every interview almost as if nothing has happened and you're completely fresh. When you go for your slots, ensure that you're on time for your interview. Don't be late. Being late looks very, very bad, especially in a partner's eyes, because a partner would be waiting for you right on time. The second thing is that be in touch with your buddies. Your buddies hopefully would be on site on the day of the interview, and even if they aren't, generally keep your buddies in the loop, keep the HR in the loop. Just ensure that you have contact with someone or the other from the firm that has been part of your buddy process in the past. This is very important because it helps you really understand the schedule and the correct timeline to be where you want to be at a given time. Also, when you're sitting for your interview in front of the partner, ensure to smile. Keep a big smile on your face. Be nice, jovial, casual. Don't overdo the professionalism. It seems robotic and seems almost alien. Ensure that at the same time you don't slip anything that is overly personal in that moment. Be very attentive to what the partner is asking you. Be humble overall. That's a huge, huge, huge part of it. The more humility you show during the interview, the better your interview is going to go. The more attentive you are to the partner, the better your interview is going to go. On the final actual interview day, ensure that when a partner says something, don't be combative. Don't argue with the partner. Don't do things where it's very clear that you are coming off as an arrogant person or someone who is generally very, very, very combative, because that shows a side of you that you would not want to portray in front of someone like a partner. Be receptive to their feedback at all times. Keep them in the loop. Whenever you go through a difficult section of the case, kind of recap whatever has happened in that particular case, in that particular section, so that your partner is always in the loop with whatever you're saying. And in general, keep calm, be happy, stay positive. No matter what, your seniors are with you, your buddies are with you, everyone's there to just ensure that you have the best experience possible. And just don't worry, just it's all going to be fine. So yeah.